a sunny, salty, splendid day to be alive. Welcome down to Penguin Beach. Welcome down to World's Edge. My name is Jackson, going to be a naturalist down here today. We have Jason behind the camera. We are going to have Sihle as our director. And we are so excited to be out in the sun. It's super chilly today. We've got a strong southeasterly wind blowing. And Jason and I have decided to spend our day down here at World's Edge because the Cape Cormorants are trying for yet another breeding attempt very early on in the season. We've got some African penguins, we've got some chicks with a bit of fluff, and so we've decided that this is where the action will be for us today. And we are a live show, so please do send us in your comments and questions. And the easiest way to do that, if you're watching on a screen, would be to scan the QR code that Sihle is going to put up for you all. So you can scan that code and then you can chat to us. The other thing you could do is head on over to the WildEarth website, and then you could register there to talk to us, to send us in your questions and comments. And you can also send us in stories. So if you have a cool story about seabirds, a story about conservation, because we're having conservation conversations today, you could send that through to us and we will chat about it on the show today. And today is a really beautiful winter's day. Chilly but sunny, which is lovely. And Jason has started us off with a very strange scene because we have an adult African penguin with two very cute semi-fluffy chicks, and then we have a blue who is sitting inside their nest. But I've just realized behind them there's another, are you looking at the same bird? Behind them there is another blue who's on the other side of the rock. And so I think that we actually have two nests in this tunnel. We've got two nests in this rocky area, and we can't exactly see where one starts and one ends. And the one chick has decided to hang out with this other parent and the two little ones. And the other, who I think is likely closer to the nest, is on the other side, and he's standing alone. And at the moment, we've got a wave of chicks at the age of development that we are looking at now, these little fluffy ones. But let's go have a look at the weather before we really get stuck in today. And sunny sounds about right. I want us to go have a look at this little chick who is now hopping into the sun. So this chick is almost a blue. It's lost most of his little downy feathers. He looks like he might be trying to fly. Ah, no, he's trying to lay down on the rock. Oh, and that other little blue, do you think he's going to come around, Jay? Other little blue from the other side of the nest. Looks like he might be on the move. It's very cute to start with a tender moment, because not only is the adult cleaning this chick, the sibling is also cleaning this chick. Sophia. Oh, the chicks are, oh, goodness. They were looking amazing until the other chick was a bit aggressive. That was mean. That poor little chick. So chick number one is a meanie. He's just chased his younger sibling off the rock. The younger sibling was actually being very kind. He was helping to preen. As we all know, penguins choose violence. I think penguins are pugnacious by nature. They like to pick fights. And that poor little chick has now retreated into the nest and the mean chick is begging for a meal. So anytime you hear these chicks squeal, they want food.
We want to make it even easier for you to interact with our guides whilst watching WildEarth. When you see a QR code like this pop up on your screen, then open your phone camera, point it at the code, and you will be taken directly to our question page. Simple as that. Then you can let us know what you want to see, ask questions, and much more.
I've had it before where I've been walking and a waterbuck's jumped out of the grass. It's quite a frightening experience.
WildEarth, it's in your nature.
So we're still having a look at this blue who's in the nest with these other very fluffy chicks. And I think that the blue has bullied his way in there. So he wants to sit in the sun and be protected. So I think that's why he's chosen the spot that he has, and the other chicks kind of just have to deal with it. And we are still having conservation conversations. So we're going to be talking about that still today and tomorrow. And James and Tessa are going to be having their conversation, that's a tongue twister, Ask Me Anything tonight, just past 6:30. So you can scan the QR code if you'd like to go and have a look and be able to watch that AMA tonight. So if you'd like, you can scan the code. And if you do become an explorer, then you'll have access to things like these AMAs, but also, that juvenile's climbing out the nest. He looks very dirty now. He's covered in guano. If you have a look at his flipper and his tummy, it is a very dirty little penguin. But he's decided he might be going back home. And Jason's giving you a good view of that guano, which hopefully the parents will preen off him. But what I was saying is that if you do become an explorer, then you'll have access to things like the AMAs, the fireside chats. And you could also watch these shows ad-free. So if you would like to become an explorer, there is also a QR code for that. So we've got lots of QR codes coming up today, just to give you easy access to all these things that are happening. And Jay wants to go have a look at the younger chick who is now sneaking out of the cave. So you can see he's still beautiful and downy. And Jay can see him a lot better than I can. He's kind of behind a rock for me. And Cedric is around at the moment, and we were walking the colony this morning and we saw the fattest little penguin chick I've ever seen in my life. The chick is fully covered in down, so there's no blue feathers, but just in such amazing condition. And the chick almost looked bigger than the adult next to it. And we love to see that. We love to see these really beautiful, healthy penguin chicks. And if I look at these two chicks that we're watching now, they also look to be in good condition. They look to be rather rotund. But that's what we want, because these chicks have a hard life ahead of them. So their parents are feeding them now. But as soon as they fledge, they have to catch their own fish, having never done it before. Parents don't necessarily teach them how to do it. And one of the greatest conservation measures that they're putting in place for African penguins at the moment is to protect the fish stocks.
School is out, and in the midst of all the excitement, WildEarth has created some fun new t-shirts so that our wild kids and future conservationists can get out, run, jump, play, and explore nature freely in something that's made for a little outdoors rough and tumble. Find this and so much more on our shop. WildEarth Kids. It's in your nature.
Basically, our director is saying she really loves this little penguin's haircut. She thinks it's very stylish. Not as stylish as Panda, but perhaps the second most stylish little creature in our WildEarth shows. Speaking of shows, yesterday we had Captain Beaky, the little white-breasted cormorant who sailed his raft from one side of the colony to the other. And I said that I thought that Captain Beaky was an adult, but I was actually informed that Captain Beaky is a juvenile. So apparently the juvenile white-breasted cormorants have white all down to their belly, which I didn't realize because I was looking at that and wondering, to be honest, over the last while, why some are fully white. I thought it was just a coloration thing, but apparently it is the juveniles who have a fully white chest and neck and down all the way to the belly. And as they get older, the adults only have the white breast, and the juveniles are a lot more playful. So I got that information yesterday. I was very thankful for that. So Captain Beaky was a juvenile setting sail. And we're looking at our Cape cormorants now because the Cape cormorants have started to try and establish their nests again down here at World's End. And if you've been watching for the last couple of months, you'll see that they'll establish nests and then the nests fail and then they leave and then they establish nests again, which is very common with seabirds. So when Alistair was here, I actually met him at World's Edge by mistake because I was walking the colony and he was hanging out here. And he says that the peak breeding season is October. So what I think is that maybe the conditions are favorable at the moment, which is why they're trying to breed. But I also think that these are perhaps inexperienced birds that are trying to breed too early in the season. And so the nests are failing and sort of will continue to fail until October, when the peak breeding season comes in. But I love to watch these Cape cormorants. And they're very beautiful. Eddie, so you're asking what's the difference between a cormorant and a penguin nest? And penguins don't build sort of round nests. If you have a look at these Cape cormorant nests, Jay is giving you a nice view now, they build a very normal sort of looking cup-shaped nest that they will sit on, and they will build these nests on the rocks. Where the penguins, their natural instinct is to burrow. And if a penguin is not to burrow, if they are to have a nest that's just on land, they don't really build a cup. So they'll just have maybe a few sticks lining the nest, and they'll be under a tree, which we saw with Hope, who was our very first penguin chick of the season. So you'll never find a penguin nest on top of a rock, where all the cormorants will breed on top of the rocks in this area. I think it's different on Dyer Island and your predator-free islands where they would naturally breed. But here certainly all cormorants in cup-shaped nests. So your Cape cormorants have very small nests, as do the crown cormorants. Earlier on in the year we got to see those big white-breasted cormorant nests, as well as the bank cormorants. And all of the cormorants make their nests out of different material. Jason's showing you some bird love there. Some lovebirds, in fact. They're clattering their bills together. And one of the conservation measures I mentioned yesterday was that Cape Nature has to throw out fresh material for these cormorants, because otherwise they steal all of the dune spinach on top of the penguin nests. And There are conservation measures in place to protect Cape cormorants, and one of the big ones is that when they are breeding on the islands, nobody is allowed to walk in the areas where they breed, because otherwise it interrupts the birds and it can cause the nests to fail. The government is also putting in regulations to limit our fishing when it comes to sardine and anchovy. So I believe this year, and in fact for the last several years, sardine fisheries have actually been closed. So you're not allowed to fish sardine in South Africa, or the quota has been greatly reduced because our sardine stocks have not been doing all too well. And the anchovy stocks have also been reduced just to try to give these fish stocks time to recover.
We are thrilled to be taking part in Conservation Week.
Join me as we discuss crucial conservation topics such as human-wildlife conflict, elephant numbers, and rhino poaching.
Come and connect with us at our exclusive Conservation AMA on the 27th of July at 6:40 p.m. Central African Time.
Sign up to be an explorer and you can bring us all your conservation-related questions.
Play your part by starting the conversation about conservation with us. See you there.
WildEarth Explorers is a club aimed at people who love nature and care about the earth we live on. First and foremost, if you join our club, you can watch WildEarth completely ad-free. In addition, we have great monthly prize draws, a weekly newsletter, and access to some great extra content such as fireside chats, AMAs, and hangouts. For a small monthly subscription, you can join other like-minded viewers and be part of the club. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
I was just chatting about the fact that Cape cormorants and most of our birds, and in fact most of our wildlife here, love to eat sardines. And you know, these sardines are spawning somewhere off the Agulhas Bank, although this is still a mystery as to where exactly it happens, which is incredible because the sardine run and the natural movement of sardines off the coast of South Africa is one of the largest migrations in the world in terms of biomass. So if you had to weigh all of those sardines who are traveling, they call it the largest shoal on Earth, and I get goosebumps just talking about it because I just find it so interesting. So they believe that these sardines spawn somewhere off the Agulhas Bank and then they go up towards the east coast. So they go past the wild coast, which is where everybody goes and dives with them. And then the sardines, the adult sardines, will go and die somewhere off the coast of close to Durban. And so by protecting fish stocks, one of the really cool things that you can do is you can protect your fish stocks, you can increase the price of fish and catch less fish. And so by increasing the price, you still make sure that fishermen are getting the money that they need to live and survive. Catching less fish gives the fish chance to recover. And so it's really a win-win situation if we're thinking sustainably. And most of the fish caught in South Africa, particularly anchovy, is actually eaten by us. We use it for things like fish meal, dog food, to feed livestock. So one of the great ways that you can be a conservationist, particularly if you're in South Africa, is you could consult the SASSI list before you consume fish. Lily, so conservation is it's to act in a way to conserve. No, let me not do that. Let me start this again. So conservation, I always say, is it's a doing word. It's a verb. So it's living and behaving in a way where you protect wildlife and plants and nature, essentially, so that the plants and the nature that we see and the wildlife that we see can continue on for generations to come. So conservation is doing things to protect and preserve nature so that nature can continue to exist in a healthy manner. And conservation is something that benefits not only animals, but also benefits people. And that's something that I don't talk about very much on the show, but it's a very important part of conservation because we cannot practice practice environmental conservation if we're not looking after people first. And so we have to tackle what we call socio-economic needs, so the problems that we face as people, before we can really tackle conservation issues. And so by helping people and by educating people, talking to your friends and telling your friends to pick up their litter. Yesterday evening, my friend Lee was saying she manages a guest house, and she was saying at her guest house they have these special sensor lights for bird life, because birds are very responsive to light at night. It can really disturb them. And so at her guest house, what they did is they installed these awesome lights that are a very warm LED color, which is less invasive to birds. But what those sensor lights also do is they fade instead of going on very bright and then going off and it's pitch black. So the lights fade very slowly, which is less disturbing to birds. And the owners of the guest house she works at are very conscious, and so they're part of a birding coalition or a system that works towards protecting birds. And that is a conservation measure, a conservation practice. And that's something that we could all actually do at home. So I was very excited to share that with you all today.
We are offering our explorers another extraordinary WildEarth experience. Explorers stand a chance to win a 3-night stay for 2 at Amakhala Game Reserve, picturesquely situated next to Addo Elephant Sanctuary Park. Enjoy an authentic bush lodge experience in the luxurious Woodbury tented camp and feel the heartbeat of Africa on exhilarating safari drives. Sign up to be an explorer today, and you might soon be off to this untouched safari destination with WildEarth. After an exhilarating day of live safaris,
what better than to cozy up around a fire?
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and let our guides enchant you with their stories and exciting animal encounters. And of course, stand a chance to join in the chat and get your questions answered in real time. So what are you waiting for? Join the Explorers Club today and start to enjoy our special evenings around the fire. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
So I mentioned yesterday that being a conservationist is not having a conservation or biology degree. It's a doing word. It's something that we can all be. Everyone can be conservationist in their behavior and in their nature. And I said yesterday, often some of the best conservationists in the world don't have biology degrees. They're people who woke up, saw something they didn't like, and they decided to do something. Whale, I knew we were going to see a whale. Sikle, we have a whale for you. So there's just been a blow right aligned with Gansbaai Mountain. So if you just, in this turquoise water, zoom into the turquoise water. So Sikle, our director, always seems to get the whales. She's always got the luck. So yeah, Jay's zoomed into the perfect place. There we go, there's the blow, there's the whale. I didn't see the whale, I've got my binoculars out. I just had a feeling that we were gonna get whales for Sikle today. And I'm so glad that we did, it's so exciting. So of course, you know me, if there's whales, we watch whales. That's what we're gonna be doing now. Very, very exciting. So I'm very, very happy, always very happy to see whales. I said it before, but no matter how many times you see whales, no matter how many, no matter how sort of distant the sighting is, just knowing that they're there, I don't know what hormone it would be. I think it's dopamine. It just shoots my dopamine right up. I just get so, so happy. And I have not seen this whale again. I think we gave you one view of it. So I don't know if this is a humpback just yet, but we're going to keep our eyes on the sea. But what I was saying before I was interrupted by my favorite animal is that everyone can be a conservationist. If you see, oh, okay, the whale's moving very fast now. he is just above the that very white rock that's sticking out, that's not attached to these rocks. It's a very fast-moving animal. Don't know what's going on there. So curious to see what whale we have on our hands. He's moving fast, so it might be a humpback, but it could be, yeah, it's two humpbacks. Oh, there's a baby humpback whale. Do you have them, Jay? Okay, I'd say go above this white rock here.
So I started watching WildEarth at the beginning of COVID and I haven't looked back since. I've seen all of the leopards I wanted to see in Marive's. He's been so playful and such a character. I had to remind myself to breathe at some points. To see those two cubs made me very emotional. It's just been brilliant. It's just blown me away.
So Jason and I are having a look out for some humpback whales. I thought that there was a baby, but my last view makes me think otherwise. So the whales just came up super shallow, so we didn't get a good view now. Wayne. So we can actually see so many different species of whale in South Africa, but not common. They're not commonly found. Oh no, that is a baby. That is a baby. That's very exciting. So the most common whales seen off the coast of South Africa would be the humpback whale, which we're watching now, and there is a baby humpback whale in this group. And then we have the southern right whale. There we go, up again. Do you have them, Jay? Fantastic. Sorry, I just have to keep checking because I'm seeing very differently to Jason, and when you're looking through a viewfinder, it's very difficult to track the animals. So you'll just hear me confirming with Jay every now and then that he's still got them. Yeah, so we have the, oh, there we go, up again. Oh, little whale. So we have the humpback whale, we have the So we have the humpback whale, we have the southern right whale, we have the Brutus whale, which is our very shy residential species, which can also be pronounced the bride's whale. So those are the three common baleen whale species that you can see off the coast of South Africa. Very occasionally someone spots a minke whale. And then when it comes to the toothed whales, the most commonly spotted toothed whales would be the common dolphin, the endangered humpback dolphin, the bottlenose dolphin, there is the spinner dolphin, there is the heaviside dolphin, there is the dusky dolphin. So those would be the most commonly spotted dolphins, and then the orca or killer whale. Occasionally, very occasionally, you get false killer whales. We could also get the long-finned pilot whales. I've never seen any of those two species, but I know that if you do deep-sea trips, you could see that. You could also see on a deep-sea trip sometimes sperm whales if you're extremely lucky. These whales have gone down quite a long time now. We'll see if they pop up again. Then we also have the pygmy sperm whales, Kogia. I can't remember what the second part of the scientific name is, but the pygmy sperm whales sometimes wash up along our shoreline. We also get the beaked whales. So I think a couple of years ago there was a stranding over Cuvier's beaked whale, which is a very secretive. Beaked whales are all very secretive. They are animals that live in the deep ocean. They don't come very close to the shoreline. So the most common is the first that I mentioned. And then the others that I've mentioned now are sightings that I have seen in the last few years come up on the sightings reports in South Africa, but not necessarily commonly seen. So the balines would be humpbacks, southern rights and Brutus, which is also spelled brides or pronounced brides, but it's a Norwegian word, so we're supposed to say Bruda or Brutus. And then in this area, the common dolphins would be the common dolphin. Okay, there we go. There was a bit of a tail. So Jay, just how am I going to explain this? So there's the pointy rock, and then just to the right of the pointy rock, they're starting to blow there again. Do you see them? You got them. Okay. Yeah. So the common dolphin species in this area would be the common dolphin, the humpback dolphin, and the bottlenose dolphin that you would see. Oh, there we go, up again. So if 12 o'clock is in front of me, they would be at about 1 o'clock. And I think we've got 3 whales here. So I think that we have a mother with her young one, and I think we might have an escort. So sometimes with humpback whales, when a mother has a young calf, there we go, up again. There is an escort that travels with them, and it's usually a male humpback whale, and he will help protect the calf if they encounter anything troubling, like orcas. The orcas are the only real threat to big whales like this. If a whale is very sick, there was one case of there's a little blow. One case of two great white sharks, in fact, working together to take down a young humpback whale who was a bit sick. Up again. Oh, there's the baby whale. Oh, baby whales are the cutest things on the planet. There's nothing I love more than a baby whale because they are so cute. And at this stage, he's still a little bit small, but they get to their toddler age where they're the naughtiest little things in the world. Naughtier than the hyena cubs over at Djuma, I'm pretty sure. Although some people might disagree. Because they're figuring the world out, and these baby whales are born at a size of about 4 meters and they almost weigh a ton at birth. And I think often these baby whales don't know their strength. Baby whales give their mothers a really hard time.
School is out, and in the midst of all the excitement, WildEarth has created some fun new t-shirts so that our wild kids and future conservationists can get out, run, jump, play, and explore nature freely in something that's made for a little outdoors rough and tumble. Find this and so much more on our shop. WildEarth Kids. It's in your nature.
We are thrilled to be taking part in Conservation Week.
Join me as we discuss crucial conservation topics such as human-wildlife conflict, elephant numbers, and rhino poaching.
Come and connect with us at our exclusive Conservation AMA on the 27th of July at 6:40 p.m. Central African Time.
Sign up to be an explorer and you can bring us all your conservation-related questions.
Play your part by starting the conversation about conservation with us.
So I've not seen these whales in a moment or two, so I think we'll still have a look. So I think it's Kate or Kay. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. So a young humpback whale will be with its mom for likely just a bit less than a year. Oh, like the letter K. So it's K. So likely a little bit less than a year. So we always say about a year. To be honest, we actually don't know exactly how long mom and baby stay together. But the babies start to feed fairly quickly. With the right whales, the babies will start to feed as early as February, and the earliest babies are born in sort of June. So it's likely that they'll probably spend between 9 to 12 months together before heading their separate ways. So not a very long time, to be honest. But baby whales grow extremely fast. So baby whales drink hundreds of liters of milk a day. I cannot tell you whether it's 300 or 600 because the reality is we don't know. So if I gave you a number, I would be lying to you. But they drink hundreds of liters of milk a day, and the milk is super fat rich. It's not like our milk, it's more like yogurt, like double cream yogurt. And so baby whales can grow up to 3 centimeters in a single day. They're extremely fast growing. And so by the time they leave South African, I guess this would be South African waters, I see the blow, but they're super far. I think we might have to say goodbye to them. By the time they leave the sheltered area in which the parents or the mother gave birth and raised the baby for the first few months, they are already about half the size of their mother. And the reason for that is that the parents do want to raise them very quickly here because they want to prepare them for the migration. And if you would like to be able to watch our show without having any adverts, what you could do is you could become an explorer. So we're going to put the code up and then you could scan that, and that would allow you to not miss any of the action in between scenes. And I think these whales are really far off now, so I think we're going to say goodbye to them. But I really hope that you enjoyed getting to see them. It's so cool to see a young one. And once again, the whales are all moving to the west. So, oh, breach! The whale just breached! Did you see that? But that's a different whale. That whale's a lot further away. But we're just going to keep watching the sea because there was a breaching whale. And I'm going to try not to move on the boardwalk so that, oh, there we go, it's breaching. Do you see it, Jay? So it's right on the horizon, kind of in line with where we lost them. I want to see, I'm not sure we'll be able to get it on. Oh, it is a humpback whale. I'm not sure how best to describe it to Jason. And the whale hasn't breached again. We're having a look there. So I think the breaching whale has picked up on the presence of the other whales, and that's why it's breaching. It's making a noise for communication. So this is my theory. So we'll just see if it happens again. And it so often happens with whales when you're watching. There we go. And have a look. You'll be watching one group of whales and then another whale will pop out of nowhere. So we don't really know what's going on. If you're on a boat, sometimes boats will drop hydrophones. I've actually never been on a boat with a hydrophone before, so I've never heard whale communication in real time. I'd love the experience of it. But the reality is when the whales are under the water, we have no idea what they're doing. So sometimes we think they're communicating, and it's almost like the elephants in Juma. Sometimes what you'll see with both whales and dolphins is that suddenly all the animals will change their behavior. So with dolphins, for example, they'll all change direction. And with... Oh! Did you see that?
Would you like to have your finger on the pulse of WildEarth? Are you curious about what happens behind the scenes? And would you like a catch-up on the best moments from the week, delivered straight to your inbox?
How cool is this? And oops, don't lose it.
Then it's time to join the Explorers Club and receive the weekly newsletter. Head over to our website to find out more.
So we are looking at the horizon because we had a breaching whale, although it was really quite far away. I think what we might do is we might just give it a couple more minutes, and then we are going to look at our penguins and our cormorants again. That they were that was a humpback whale, and the other group of whales we were watching were also humpback whales. And I was chatting about communication and how the whales are communicating under the water. They have rumbles, they sing. And scientists are really trying to decipher what the whales are saying to each other. They don't believe it's like bird song. They don't think it works the same way. And I think that that's an amazing thing that people are trying to figure out. And in terms of whale conservation, something that we are noticing increasingly is that our underwater noise has a huge impact on whales because they can't hear each other and it can disturb them. So what they're trying to do in some countries, and they've done some really cool studies, particularly of Canada with the northern right whales, is they found that if boats, container ships move slower, they make less noise, there's less wear and tear on the ships, so that the ships actually end up spending less money. And the ships also don't wait in port as long, because in some studies they found that ships were waiting in port 24 hours before they were offloading. And so what they found is that by slowing down, there's less noise, less chance of ship strikes, and that the shipping companies could actually benefit from that practice. And humans love to rush, and I'm very guilty of this. I'm a very impatient person. I like to do things very fast. The whale just breached again. So just above that mermaid rock that's very brown, just above that. Yeah, you got him there. Okay, yeah. It's at about, okay, if in front of me is 12 o'clock, then it's at about 2 o'clock. The rock at 2. So there's lots of really cool studies that are being done looking at ocean noise. And they drop hydrophones, so listening devices, and they're able to see, what our noise levels are. And there are ways to mitigate ocean noise, which is nice. We can solve these issues, and what we could also do is we could move the shipping lanes, so see where the whales are traveling, and just by moving the shipping lanes out of these very important whale areas, we can help protect whales. And there's a lot of amazing work being done around the world on this, and South African whale science is incredible. We really are world leaders, in fact, in so many conservation aspects. It makes me very proud to be South African. And I know that our whale scientists here are also collaborating very much with whale scientists all over the world, so that ideas are shared and practices that work well are shared worldwide instead of just being successful in one area. So in South Africa, we have the MRI whale unit who do the southern right whale studies.
Wow, what a way to start off.
Look at that. That's amazing.
This is so exciting.
Oh, awesome.
There you go. Heart is pumping right now.
Look at that.
Delve deeper into what WildEarth can offer you. Register for free on our website, and you can interact with our guides whilst watching your favorite show. Once registered, you will also have access to some extra special content.
There might be something along here. I think we should go have a look.
Registration includes filling in your email address and creating a password. It's that easy. WildEarth, it's in your nature.
So penguins underwater communication is actually very interesting. I know that they're doing studies on that at this very moment. They're actually trying to listen out for penguins under the water, and I'm trying to see if I can remember the conversation that I had, because what they were doing in Simonstown is they were actually playing back penguin noises to see how they would respond. In my head, I'm seeing or thinking that from what I found, was it the calls or was it? I think it was that the body coloration had no impact on communication under the water with between penguins. I think that was it. And I think that they do make noises under the water, but I'm not 100%. My brain's got a bit blank on that, so I'm just going to go have a look and see if I can find that information. I had a chat with one of the bioacoustic ladies who was doing as part of one of these studies, which is how I found out about it. But let me go and let me elaborate a bit more on that tomorrow. I'll see if I can find sound, reference of them actually using sound underwater to communicate with each other to help herd fish. Most marine mammals do it. I think seals make sounds under the water. And I do believe that the penguins do too, but let me check on that. I also had an unanswered question from yesterday about the boardwalk, when the boardwalk was built, and I still have not found the answer to that. So I have asked a couple of people at Stony Point, but they started working here long after the boardwalk was built. I feel like it must have been in the early 2000s, so that is my guess. The first time I was here was 2013, and the boardwalk was definitely here. So I think sometime between 2001 and 2010 would be my best guess. But I'm still having a look out for that, and we will try and figure out when exactly the boardwalk was built. I looked for the history of Stony Point and wasn't able to come up with it. These penguins are just enjoying the sun. I think that cool breeze does definitely impact them. So I think they want to be out and getting some sun. Looks like we've got some cormorant mating that might be happening down here in front of us. So we might come and have a look at the cormorants again.
Yes.
They do before they mate. The female will hop onto the male first, and then the male will hop onto the top of the female. And just as we got down to them, that's when they stopped. The cormorant above was still moving his neck. So they almost look like a snake. They almost look like a cobra when they move their necks like that. It's starting again. There we go. Ooh. Perhaps not. So there you can see what is really their mating behavior. And there's a cormorant who's stolen has it stolen that stick just below.
Here on WildEarth, we love it when you interact with our guides while they are live. In order to do this, you must head over to wildearth.tv/questions and submit your questions, comments, and suggestions. Simple as that. And to make it even simpler, from time to time, you will see a QR code on your screen. Open your camera phone and scan this code, and it will take you straight to where you need to be. We look forward to answering your questions on this channel.
School is out, and in the midst of all the excitement, WildEarth has created some fun new t-shirts so that our wild kids and future conservationists can get out, run, jump, play and explore nature freely in something that's made for a little outdoors rough and tumble. Find this and so much more on our shop. WildEarth kids, it's in your nature.
So we have had a disturbance in the force. We have had the Egyptian geese arrive to make sure that they are heard and seen on today's show. And the Egyptian geese have really been so incessant recently. They are just fighting each other all the time. They're in the peak of their breeding season. And Cedric was saying he had a battle with Egyptian geese, and James Henry also had a battle with Egyptian geese, all within a month. So they've really caused a lot of tension down here at Stony Point. And you don't go very long without hearing them. I think we got through most of our show without hearing them. But they're all establishing their territory and making sure everybody knows where their home is. I think we've given them the attention that they need. Hopefully this goose will now leave us alone and not demand any more screen time. I'm going to go have a look because there were some dassies. There's a dassie below us who is giving himself a nice scratch. So we're going to go show you a dassie. 2 mammal species on Penguin Beach today. That's very exciting. 3 if you include humans, but I think I'm certainly the least exciting of the mammals of Stony Point. This dassie does not look all that thrilled at us. He's not nervous. If he was nervous, he would be running into the rocky crevices to protect himself. We just have a little bit of a look of disdain on his face. Dassies need the sunlight to help warm them up. They really are awful at regulating their own body temperature. So if they spend too much time in the sunlight, even if the temperatures are mild, which in South Africa would be about 20, 22 degrees, they spend too much time in those sorts of temperatures, they actually overheat. This dassie's been very clever because he is sitting against a rock, and that rock is protecting him from the southeasterly wind. So it's nice and warm where that little dassie is sitting.
We are thrilled to be taking part in Conservation Week.
Join me as we discuss crucial conservation topics such as human-wildlife conflict, elephant numbers, and rhino poaching.
Come and connect with us at our exclusive Conservation AMA on the 27th of July at 6:40 p.m. Central African Time.
Sign up to be an explorer and you can bring us all your conservation-related questions.
Play your part by starting the conversation about conservation with us. See you there.
We are offering our explorers another extraordinary WildEarth experience. Explorers stand a chance to win a 3-night stay for 2 at Amakhala Game Reserve, picturesquely situated next to Addo Elephant Sanctuary Park. Enjoy an authentic bush lodge experience in the luxurious Woodbury tented camp and feel the heartbeat of Africa on exhilarating safari drives. Sign up to be an explorer today and you might soon be off to this untouched safari destination with WildEarth.
Jason is finding some thought he was finding some cormorants, so he's actually finding that dussie again. Well, that dussie's very cute now. He's behaving a little bit like a dog, laying with his legs stretched out and staring at us. Jessie, they are super adorable. I'd say maybe little penguins. At this colony, I found the little penguins maybe take the cake for the cutest of creatures. The dussies are really sweet. I think there's something about an animal being very round that really hits our soft spots. Well, very certainly mine. And dussies are actually incredible. No other, I'd say, herbivore would really do very well in an environment like this because the food is just so scarce. And yet the dussies are able to really occupy this space and reach really large numbers. And so if this was an open plain, and you had to take all the dussies and put them in the fields, it would look very much like a herd of impala. You'd see very many dussies. So they say that the biomass of dussies in rocky areas like this is very similar to that of, things like impala in the low veldt. Jay wants us to look at our cormorant nesting again. So they build the nest very fast, but you'll see that when the nests fail, they also tend to break up very fast because I think the other cormorants steal the nesting material. And I feel like our show has just flown by today. James is hoping that he's going to spot Talamba this afternoon. And Tess is also after spots, so she's not fussy about who she sees. She would just love to see a leopard. And Ali is taking it easy today. She's just going bumbling along to see what she might be able to find. And do remember that Tess and James have that AMA tonight about conservation. So if you want to learn a little bit more about low veldt conservation and ask them anything really, then you can do that. Tomorrow is my last day with you for about 10 days, so hopefully we have a spectacular last day. I'm hoping for that. On behalf of Jason and myself, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got to enjoy those humpback whales, particularly that little one. I'm going to go have a look to see if we managed to show him to you. We got to see Cape cormorants, we had dussies, we had Egyptian geese, we got penguin chicks. Really just the most fantastic time out here at World's Edge. Really one of my favorite spots to be out at Penguin Beach. So thank you again. We are going to see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and enjoy our sunset safari.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.